Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be at in the world. As you come on, let me know where you're watching from and please share. I think many of you all know how we do this by now. So let me know where you're watching from. Please tag somebody and share this and let everyone know that we are on. We're going to talk about be wise and to be prepared. Just wanted to share that with you all tonight. So hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody is doing well. Hello, hello. It's good to see you all coming on. I wanted to share this with you all. Hey, Deneen, good to see you on. Did everybody have a good day so far? How's everything going with everyone? Hello, 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 Margaret Stearns from Massachusetts. Good to see you on. Hello, Letta. Yes, everyone, please share. Okay, Deneen, you're from Georgia. Hello from Jersey. Hey, I get to see some of you all next week. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, Prophet Ricky, I love you. Hey, Pastor Craig, I love you guys. It's good to see you all on. Justin, it's been a minute since I've seen you. Good evening, Akila. You know I love and miss you. Can't wait to see you very, very soon. I'm glad that you had a great day. Blessings to you in California. Hello, Shay in Ohio. Hello, Tanisha. Thank you so much, Akila, for the stars. Just going to wait just a couple of seconds because I'd like to greet you guys. And you all know, those of you that follow this page know that I will get started and I just keep going. And not that I'm not seeing your comments. A lot of times I'll go back and I'll read through your comments because I want to make sure that I give you what I have. And so I just want to take some time just to greet you all and say hello, good evening. And then we're going to talk about to be wise. We have to be really wise so that we can be prepared. And I think the reason why a lot of times that we lack preparation is because we allow things to take our focus. We allow things to distract us. We allow things to overwhelm us. And I'm going to talk about the parable about the foolish virgins. Because I think a lot of times, some of us, we know this, we can teach it, we can preach it, we can do all those particular things, but the question is, do we apply it? Certain situations and certain scenarios will come and it will distract us. It will overwhelm us. It will sideswipe us. But we have to be focused that we're going to be wise in all that we do. I mean, being wise in what we respond to, what we don't respond to, being wise on how we handle things that happen throughout the day. Again, thank you all for the stars. For those of you that have seen this shared on somebody else's page, please come like and follow this page, Teresa Hawkins.Global. And thank you all for being on. And so I really want to talk about it because even with me recently, so many things have come up that could have easily taken my attention to cause me to be distracted, that could cause me to be overwhelmed. Some of you all, if you follow just my personal page as well, yesterday I shared something on my personal page where I made a post to help people. And this is the thing you got to understand. A lot of the things that we get a revelation of, a lot of the things that we get insight and wisdom on, we got to be a partaker of that too. It's not just a matter of getting that word, posting it, sharing it, imparting it. We have to partake of that word. And so yesterday I shared something about know when to walk away or whatever, or something about make sure, know when to walk away to maintain your character integrity or something like that. And something went sideways. Somebody put something that I believe was very ignorant that could have easily caused me to no longer to be focused. It could have caused me not to be wise, but we have to discern and we have to really decide, is this even something worth getting into? Is this something to get involved about? Is this something that I need to focus my attention on? There are some things that's going to happen. People are going to have their own opinions. They're going to feel the way they want to feel. And I believe that the reason why sometimes that we get into these debates that's not going to bring no glory to the kingdom, I think the reason why we get into some of these debates is really because we don't stay focused on the main thing that needs necessary, and that's preparation for what God is doing in us, where he's taking us, what he's connecting us to, what he's aligning us with. And just that quick, it could shift us into not preparing. So let me get into this text. I'm going to talk about the parable over in Matthew, the 25th chapter. It says chapter 25, verse 1, it says, "Then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish." Now, a lot of times people get mad because I use stuff that's in the Bible. They're ignorant. But Paul said, "I won't have you ignorant concerning spiritual gifts." I got that from the scriptures. I got that out of the Bible. I tell people, stop being foolish. Don't be foolish. Where did I get that from? I'm getting it from the word. There were 10 of them, 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. We have to be intentional not to be foolish, because I'm going to show you and help us to understand how we can become foolish when we automatically think and believe that we are wise in all our ways. That's why I started off in saying you got to be careful. People will know how to push your buttons. People know how to tick you off. The enemy will use anybody to distract, to overwhelm, to frustrate, but we have to be intentional. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to let that push me. I'm not going to let that move me. Why? I have to focus on being wise. I got to make sure I have my oil. Because what'll happen is people will come and deplete you of your oil. They'll deplete you of the grace that God has placed upon your life. They'll deplete you of the revelation that God has given you. They'll deplete you of your time. They'll deplete you of what you should already know as your worth. And they will deplete you on how and who God has called you to be. And so you have to stay focused. We have to stay focused. And so that's why I'm going to talk about how there were some that was wise and foolish. And the difference what made the difference, it wasn't nothing deep. It wasn't nothing big that made the difference. What made the difference was that some prepared and some didn't. And so that means that even as we move into a place of being wise, we can't procrastinate. We can't delay. We can't just put the day off for tomorrow. We can't say, "I'm going to do this later. You know what? I got to get some oil, but I'm tired now. It's cold now. It's hot now." Or whatever the excuses are that we make. We got to stop making excuses, even if our excuses are justified. It's over for that. There's so much that's going on that we have to be sensitive to the timing of God. We have to be sensitive to the move of God. And it's time out for procrastination. It's time out for waiting for other people that's not even going to come through. We wait on God and who God sent and who God give. Then that's a totally different thing. But many times we get foolish because we're waiting for people that's not even going the same way that we're going. We're waiting for people to affirm something that they can't even see. And that gets us over into being foolish because we're waiting and not preparing. Let me get back to the text, because y'all know I get all excited and worked up. And so it says, verse 3, "Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them." So you're taking something that's empty. And so I want to say this. We got to stop looking the part but not having no weight. We got to stop looking the part, but there's no substance. We gotta stop having everything set up like everything is perfect, but we're not reading our word. We're not fasting. We're not worshiping. We're not praying. We're not being in the place of accountability. It's great that person, you can carry and tote, a coffee table size Bible. But if there is no word in you, if there's no revelation of God's love in you, if there's no sacrifice of how we are to submit to the things of God in the kingdom, then it's just for show. And so here it is. The Bible says that they took the lamps with them, but there was no oil. And many of us, we want a platform, but we have no oil. We want influence, but there's no oil. And it's not just good to have it. You want it filled. And so I want to be filled to the capacity of overflow. So what made it foolish is we can have some. So just because I have a cup and I'm carrying around a cup doesn't mean that it's something on there. That's just like many of us that's introverts. Now I'm going to, us introverts, we don't keep secrets. We want people to know so they don't get offended by some of the things that we do with introverts. I saw a meme and it's very true. Somebody was like, one of the worst things that can happen for an introvert is for them not to have their phone. Well, guess what? Because many times we use that phone to stop from having conversations, and we don't have that as a hindrance. So just because we have our phone don't mean we're on our phone. Just because you have a lamp don't mean mean that it can be lit. Just because you have a flask doesn't mean that anything is in it. And so the blessing is that we have it. Now we got to do what it takes so it can be filled, so it can come to a place of overflow. So we got to find out what it is that we need to do, that we're not being distracted, that we're not being pulled away from the particular things that we need to do, to make sure that it's filled, to not just to say it, but to it takes us to where we need in God. All right, so it says they took their lamps, but no oil with them. And let me not get ahead of myself, because I'm going to take this verse by verse. Verse 4, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. Wise. They didn't just take the lamp, but they took oil with them. Why? I don't know what God needs of me and when he needed with me. I need to make sure that I'm focused in his presence, that I am in a time of prayer and intercession. I understand people want to go out and they want to party. And guess what? Certain places is opening back up and we want to go out. But no, I still need to be in a place of consecration. I still need to be in a place of isolation, not because I need to quarantine, but I need my oil, my lamp to be filled, because guess what? When he put a demand on the call, when he put a demand on the anointing, when he put a demand on the revelation, there should be something that come out because of what he has already told us to prepare. And so if you got a lamp, you got to do what it takes to make sure that it's filled. So it says the wise went, not only did they take a lamp with them, they took oil with them, because I don't know when God is going to put a demand. I don't know when. I've been waiting, but I'm going to be ready. I don't care if you've been waiting 5 years. I don't care if you've been waiting 10 years. I don't care if you've been waiting 20 years. But my God, make sure that you are ready. You have it. Don't get discouraged. Don't get out of position. Don't move. Don't let the enemy rob you because I've been waiting. Ain't nothing going to come with me. That's the mindset the enemy wants you to get in. No, you stand and you be prepared and you have it ready. Because just like the 5 had a lamp and no oil, you have the lamp in the oil. Stay in position. Stay put. Stay ready. And so it says, verse 5, but while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. We all know, and we say it so much, we can quote it. We'll say a delay is not a denial. But in that delay, what are you doing with your delay? In the time of delay, what are you doing? Are you depressed? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you mad? Are you resting? Are you preparing? What are you doing in the delay? Don't let the delay rob you of your joy. Don't let the delay rob you of the fire. Don't let the delay rob you of the glory that God has already placed on the inside of you, but it's just waiting for the appointed time. Don't let that stop you, but be ready at any given time. So verse 6 says, and at midnight, because I don't care how long it takes, you make sure you stay ready. Don't get discouraged. I've seen people tell me, listen to this, Deneen and Akila, listen to this. I've seen people tell me that because they were waiting and because things didn't happen and because God didn't come through when they wanted him to come through, they stopped preparing. They stopped having wisdom and understanding that all I got to do is stay with a heart posture, to stay in a place of surrender and know that when it's time, I'm ready so God can come and do whatever is necessary and needful. But I'm not just going to just sleep and just not have what I need together. I'm going to be prepared and then I'm going to rest because I know when this time comes, I am ready, right? And so verse 6 says, and at midnight a cry was heard. Behold, the bridegroom is coming. Go out to meet him. Verse 7, then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. All of it. It said all of them. All of them got up and started trimming their lamps. Verse 8, and the foolish said to the wise. See, some of y'all gonna get mad at me about what I'm about to say. I am cool with it. I am so okay with a person not understanding what I'm about to say. Verse 8 says, and the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil. Wait a minute. We got the same information at the same time. You had your lamp, I had mine. So while you wanted to go out and party, I was at all night prayer. While you wanted to eat because it was free, I was still on my fast. Wait a minute. While you wanted to go and gossip and talk about people and not do what was necessary, and I decided to hold my peace and not to say anything, you want what? Say that again. You want what of mine? That ain't happening. Because we had the same opportunity. It's what you do with it. That's why I don't feel, you know what? I used to feel real guilty because people will manipulate you. People can have the same opportunity that you had and was supposed to be going the same way where you were going. And then they will begin to manipulate you and make you feel guilty because you did what it took while they wanted to play around. You sacrificed. You didn't spend. You said, God, not only am I fasting to get away from food and fasting from television, I'm fasting from spending. I'm fasting from going out. I'm fasting from everything. But because they saw you sleep, not knowing that you sacrificed, not knowing that you prepared, not knowing that you were ready for the appointed time, that you was ready for whenever God come. And now because you sleep, well, so-and-so sleep. Well, because Miss Destiny is asleep, I'm going to go to sleep. Because Craig is asleep, I'm going, no, baby, you ain't doing what it take for you to rest yet. Why are you resting anyway? What you tired for? You ain't worked yet. You didn't study yet. What are you sleepy for? What are you tired for? You got work to do. You need to be studying. You need to be praying. You need to be in his presence. Don't rest until you go into the fullness of what he have. And so they want to say, give us some of your oil. What? No. Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answer, saying no. I would say the same thing. Before I used to say yes. Before I used to be like, half for me, half for you, half for you. And then I had to get a revelation. There are some people that intend to be foolish because they know how to manipulate. There are some people that they will insist on not doing what's necessary because they know how to bully people. They know how to make people feel bad and guilt people. And this is some of the things that they use. It's this reverse manipulation that I found out that some people operate in, that I was succumbing to and giving into. Sometimes people are like, you know what? If the attention isn't on me, I'm going to pull the attention on me anyway by people feeling sorry for me, by people feeling guilty for me. So things will happen. Like I could have what I need and you could have what you need. And somebody would say, well, nothing good ever happens for me. See, I just wish I was like you. See, God just loves you more than he loved me. I mean, it's just nothing going to ever happen for me. But I'm glad that's happening for you. And I realized that was deceitful, that it was manipulative, because I had fell into that trap so many times that I couldn't even enjoy the blessings that God had. I couldn't even enjoy coming out of the process. I couldn't enjoy being on the other side of the battle because I started feeling so sorry for somebody that didn't even do what it took, now manipulating me so I can't even embrace, to even testify, to tell somebody who really want to go through the process, to really want to go to the place of having their oils filled and their lamp filled, that I can't even say it now because I feel too guilty to testify. I feel too bad to even say that God's been good. I feel too overwhelmed because I don't want anybody to feel like God don't love them and I don't love them. But I have learned that even by the scripture text years ago, that there are some that's going to be foolish and there are some that's going to be wise. And I chose not to entertain those that are foolish. If they want help, I will try to help you. But if you don't want it, then you're going to stay in that column called foolish. So they said, no, lest there should not be enough for us and you. So like, if I don't have enough for me and you, we're at the same amount of time. We were all together. Why don't you have it? We were in that same service. Oh, you know what? So you didn't get a chance to put no oil in your lamp because we were in the service and you was offended because something was said to prick you to change, but you got mad because of the vessel that God used. Okay. So you didn't have the oil because you were in a place, and because God used somebody that you don't think qualified, you didn't want to be there and you shut down and you couldn't receive. Wait, because we got to figure it out, because it never said that they were separate. It said that it was 10 of them, and it also said that they all went to sleep, and then it said at midnight they heard a cry, and then it said so they were all together, so we all had the same opportunity. That's why we can be in a service and one person can hear one thing and somebody else hears something totally different. Let me tell you what happened. Thank you all for the stars. Thank you for the shares. Let me tell you, there was a time I had ministered something. God, anybody that know me, anything that I minister in our service, I don't care, even if it's a series. It's very prophetic, and I wait to find out from God what it is that he wants me to talk about. So it's not something that I just go in there and I never, ever, ever preach on anybody because I fear God. And it's not worth me preaching on somebody when I can just talk to them. I think anybody that know me know that I'm bold enough to say something to you if I have a problem with you. If we have relationship, I'm going to tell you. And so what happened was there was this service that we were having, and I started ministering the word of the Lord, and we had an amazing altar call. An amazing altar call. And so I'm grateful to God, because to me, that always blesses me, because I'm like, God, I knew I heard you. Thank you, Jesus. I can hear you. Those are things I don't even take for granted. I don't care how accurate people say that I am. I don't care how prophetic people say that I am. I am always grateful to God that I hear him, that he speaks to me, that he used me. I don't ever take that for granted, because he don't have to use me. And so I was so grateful to God. I saw the altar call. The people responded at the altar, but there was some that got offended. And so later on that night, I got a call from somebody, well, first it was a text. They started messaging me, and the tone was crazy. Now, I know the message was pretty much about let it go. Almost like when I ministered a few weeks ago, I think it was last week, about I'm a stripper. Something about stripping off the weight, stripping off the issue, stripping off the problem, stripping off insecurity, stripping off the pain, stripping off the past residue that don't help you to go into where God is taking you. So I'm talking about all of that. And so what happens is I get a text, and the text says something like, I really don't appreciate when people talk about me, because I went through that before. And I'm trying to figure out what's happening here, because I don't like to assume. I always tell people don't assume. So I messaged back and I said, what are you talking about? And they said, well, I get tired of trying to talk to people and talk to leaders. And then next thing you know, leaders take everything that we talked about and they just put it out there for everybody. And so I messaged them and I said, so let me ask you a question. I texted them back. I said, let me ask you a question. So do you think that I share something that you shared with me? And they said, absolutely. I said, I'm going to call you right now, because sometimes you got to understand when the texting needs to stop and the conversation needs to start. And so I called them and I said, let me ask you a question. What are you trying to say? What do you think happened? And they began to say all this vague stuff, like talk. Look, I'm here. Say what you got to say. If you're going to be bold, if you're going to bring stuff up, just say it. Let's not play games. I'd rather for you to tell me, let's get it straight. Let's move on. And so as they begin to talk, they just going in circles. I'm like, please just spit it out. My God, say what you got to say. And so I asked them, I said, so let me see if I understand what you're trying to say. Do you think that the message I just preached today was about you? See, when you don't have no oil and you don't do what it takes, and this is why the enemy don't want us to have our lamps to be filled with oil, because he likes us to be a mess. He likes us to be distracted about stuff that should get us free. We allow the enemy to hinder us and paralyze us there. And so I said, are you trying? I'm like, I know this can't be it, but I'm like, do you think that message was about you today? Is that what you're saying? Well, yeah. Now the attitude comes. Well, yes, because I'm just tired of leaders doing this. And I said, wait a minute. Why would I be preaching on you anyway? Well, I talked to you the other day. Now, mind you, I'm this person's leader, and I don't take dishonor well. Now, I want to hear your heart. I want to help you any kind of way, but what I'm not going to do is be disrespected when I'm trying to help you. And so I'm like, I know people get in a place of rejection when you tell them that you don't remember, but I'm like, how can I say this? Because I don't talk to so many people. I don't counsel so many people. I don't even remember the conversation. So I'm trying not to really hit that rejection thing, but at the same time, I'm going to give them the truth. And so I said, you talked to me the other day. I said, first of all, I don't even remember the conversation. Once I minister to you, give you what it is, that's it. That's it. We move on. I said, let me tell you something. This is what you got to understand. I said, one, I fear God too much. You got to get to a place you fear God too much that you're not going to get into any of that negative stuff. You're not going to get into preaching on people. I know people do it. I had it done to me. I'm not going to preach on people. I'm not going to say stuff about people that I wouldn't say to them personally. And I got to a place, I said, wait a minute. One, I fear God. So I don't have that kind of time. two, I lead a prophetic apostolic house. And I got so many prophets in my house that if that was about something fleshly, the altar call would not have been to the point that it was. And why did I say all that? I said all that to say where even though there was a massive altar call, there was somebody that the enemy wanted to make sure that they didn't get their oil that was necessary, and a place where they could have been delivered and a place that they could have been set free. The enemy allowed them to get offended and they took the bait. They accepted it. The enemy will bring many things to us, but it's up to us if we embrace it. It's up to us if we receive it. It's up to us if we shut it down and say, no, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to receive that. I know I got some issues. I know I need to let some things go. And what was it? The very thing that they needed. It was a message about laying aside the weight. And instead of them laying aside the weight, they picked up what was done in the past. And now they picked up what was in the past. And so what happened? They ain't laying it aside. They're staying in a place where they might have a lamp, but it's empty. They might have a lamp, but it's nothing in it. They might have something, and they might look the part, but it's not beneficial. And so you can have people be in the same place. People hear the one thing and they hear something different. But you got to make sure that you hear God. You got to make sure that you walk in where you're not going to be easily offended. The enemy will try to offend you. And you got to make sure, say, I'm not going to be offended. I need to make sure I have my oil. I need to make sure I have revelation. I need to understand. I need my word. I need to make sure that somebody can be straight with me. I am not going to miss out on what God had for me because of my emotions and my soul wounds that I refuse to confront and to deal with. And if you want to have the oil that is necessary and you want to be wise, you need to deal with those soul wounds. You need to deal with those emotions. When the enemy bring that stuff up and try to dig it up and bring it, you defeat the enemy by confronting it. Not confronting a person, you confront the very spirit and let the enemy know I'm not there anymore. And to make sure I'm not there anymore. If I need deliverance, I'm going to get deliverance. If I need counsel, I'm going to get counsel. If I need therapy, I'm going to get therapy. If I need to talk it out in session after session, I'm going to do what I need to do. If I need to go and lay on the altar, I'm going to lay on the altar, because what I'm not going to allow to happen is when the bridegroom come, I'm not prepared. I'm going to do what it takes to be prepared. And that has to be our mindset. That has to be the way that we stand and believe. So when they said no, because if I give you this, it ain't gonna be enough for both of us. And so then the next verse says, the next part of it said, but go rather to those. So now the wise, this is the wise. See, I was foolish. I was foolish. Let me tell you how I was foolish. I was foolish because although I had the oil, although I may have had what was necessary, I was foolish because I was giving it to people that wasn't going to prepare. I was giving it to people that didn't understand the value or the price of it. I was giving it to people who understand and understood that my passion was my distraction. And so they came for my passion and it distracted me, and my oil started becoming depleted because I didn't understand that it was another tactic that the enemy will use. Now, I'm not talking about those that are authentic. I'm not talking about those that are babes. I'm not talking about those that don't know. I'm talking about those that are users, those that are abusers, those that like to talk and look apart but don't want to walk authentically and the things that God has said. And so I was becoming foolish because my heart and my passion was allowing me to be distracted and taken advantage of. I didn't have the wisdom at the time that the wise had and said, no, I'm not giving you none of mine, but what you can do is you can go over here to get you some over there, because I'm not giving you none of mine. I paid a high price. I almost didn't make it out of what I came out of for this. I almost didn't live to testify. I almost died in what I was in. I almost didn't understand that God was with me. I did not see what I'm able to see now. No, I can't help you because you didn't do right. You had the opportunity and you didn't choose. And what has happened was when we keep doing that and giving it to people who just choose, you know, like coming up in school, you'll have those people who won't do homework, but they'll cheat off of you. Or you'll have people that wouldn't do their homework and they'll say, can you do my homework for me? And can you take this test for me? And can you do this? And we will consistently do it. When will they ever learn if we keep doing it for them? And we help people just graze through with not even doing right. And we consistently helping them, and we're helping them to be not integral. We're helping them to have bad character. So I started becoming, in all my wise ways, I started becoming foolish. Because now I'm in a panic because I'm drained. I'm in a panic. I'm overwhelmed. I'm in a panic because I'm trying to rush because I got to make sure you have enough. Now I have some. I got to go and get you some. And while I'm trying to run and get you some, I'm so flustered that I can't even focus now that it's time. And that's why you got to be confident in who God called you to be, because the foolish will begin to say, I know you didn't care. I knew it was all about you. I knew you didn't. And that manipulation, you got to be able to discern between those spirits of manipulation and knowing those that are authentic and those that are just trying to make you feel bad because they refuse to do what is not necessary and required. And so verse 10 said, and it said to them, let me go back up to the second part of verse 9. It said, but go rather to those who sell and buy for yourself. Go buy you some now. Go over there now. See, you should have already been prepared because this time was coming. And the reason why I said be wise, I titled this Be Wise and Be Prepared, because your time is coming. And even if you're in your time is going to get greater. So you keep preparing. Why? Because we go from glory to glory. God take us to new dimensions in him. There's new realms in everything. I don't care if you're just starting to prophesy. There's other realms in the prophetic. There's other dimensions in glory. There's other dimensions in revelation and knowledge of the things that God will give. There's different ranks in the spirit. So even if it's your time, you continue to be wise and you continue to pray for the next level, the next dimension that God will bring you into. Because we have some, well, I already got to. No. We keep going higher in God. Every time God elevates me, every time God just does something in me, that means I got to pray harder. That means I got to pray longer. That means I got to fast more. That don't mean that I let up on my fasting. That don't mean that I let up on my prayer time. That means I have to pray more. Why? When much is given, much is required. So it said, buy for yourselves. Verse 10 is saying, while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. And those who were ready went in with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. The door was shut. And what happens is we get mad. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And I've seen it happen to others. People get mad and they be like, so, okay. I love going to plays. I love going to plays. I love stage plays. I love productions because I'm a creative. I love music. I love sound. I love technology. And in stage plays, all those things are working almost in a symphony together. You see how the sound department is on key, on point with the singers and the actors and the actresses, and the band is on point, and the lighting team, they on point, and everything is working together. So I love stage plays. I just love it. I love productions. But this is the thing. When it starts, they have a certain time for you to start. My husband and I, we went to this one place that had a stage play. And because we got lost, we was running late. We were running late. And when we got there, they couldn't let us in. They could not let us in. It didn't matter how much we paid for the ticket. It didn't matter when we bought the ticket, because they had things in place that at this particular time, this is going to happen. And so whatever happened on our end and we paid it, they don't care that we're going to say we paid the ticket. They don't care about that we said that we was running late. That we had to already know that they had things in place, that it was prepared. And I've seen people out there arguing and fussing. They was like, we can't get in there. Well, we paid all this money for our ticket. We paid this for our ticket, and we need to get in there. And it already, so it's only been 5 minutes. It doesn't matter if it was 30 seconds. The door is shut. It has started. We were late. We weren't prepared. And you have two groups of people. You have the ones that get mad at the ones that went inside and didn't wait. And then you have the ones that feel guilty because they went inside and knew that they was going to miss out if they didn't go in. And they felt guilty for the ones that didn't make it in. You got to be confident in what God told you to do and keep your eyes fixed on Jesus so you don't be distracted by things that should have never distracted you. I've seen, we were there, we were late. It was like, oh my God. And we had paid for front row tickets. We paid for front row tickets. I was like, I want to be close. I want to see. I want to see what's going on. I want to be able to see. I want to hear. I don't want to be up there. I want to be close. And being late, they stopped and said, y'all can't come in. And so while the people were arguing, because the door was shut. Regardless of what happened, it caused us to not be where we needed to be when the time came. And we got to stop trying to blame others for what we failed to do. And you have to get to a place and start saying, what should I have done differently? Not be so angry and upset at who didn't let you in when they were only following instructions and they were only following what was necessary. You was already told the time. You was already told there's a call. You were already made aware that there's a mandate. You was already know that you got to live a life of purity. You already knew that you need to have clean hands and a pure heart. What part did not you get? And so that's what makes a difference between those that were wise and those that were foolish. I told you I used to be foolish because I would miss the door and let the door be shut while I was outside waiting. But man, how long you going to be here? How long it's taking you to get here? You should have been here. You need to be here. I'm mad. I knew I should have left you. No. I got a new revelation because I told you. I said, now we have it where we'll call people. I'll tell different ones like, y'all know not to be late, right? You know to be early. Now you know your on time is still late, so you know to get there real early. No, because what happened was, no, it doesn't matter. Stop the excuses. And what happens is when we start making excuses, see, the Bible lets us know that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, And what we didn't understand is that there was an area that we may have been double-minded in. And so now, even when it comes over to preparation and being wise and being prepared, we're double-minded because we're unstable in all our ways. So even when we're wrong, we think we're right. Even when we're wrong, we think everybody else is wrong and we're right. You have to take an inventory and say, what did I do wrong? If I was operating and I kept missing it and missing it and missing it, what did I do that was wrong? How do I change this? What are the adjustments that I need to make that I don't miss it last time? I got closed out this time. I will not be closed out again. You can't just say that without putting some action to those words. Do that mean that you got to get there earlier? Do that mean that you got to prepare? Do that mean that you got to change the circle that you was preparing with because you just with people that late and don't care and they don't reverence the things of God? So you got to think, what did I do differently? So when we got there, man, we shouldn't have took 83. We shouldn't have took this way. Like, man. Or when we stopped, we shouldn't have stopped for gas. We should have waited. You got to admit what you could have done differently and stop playing the blame game. Foolish people do that, not wise. When we are wise, we are always operating in wisdom so we can do better. We're always trying to see, how can I top this? Because I want to be even greater than what I thought I could be in God, because that's who God is. He is in Ephesians 3:20 God. He will do exceeding abundantly above all that I can ask or think. What do I need to do different as I walk into the wisdom that God has given unto me? So foolish people blame people. We got to take responsibility. It was easy. Remember I said the person that texted me? It was easy for them to blame me instead of confronting the pain and the hurt from the past. It was easier for them to do that. But see, this is the thing when we're foolish that the enemy loves. We got so many people that operate in guilt because it's our passion to help people. That I'm almost certain that they thought I was going to take that abuse because my passion was that they'll no longer be in pain. But I got to a place of being wise and said, you know what? If you're not willing to do what it takes to be free and delivered, you need to go somewhere else you can listen, because surely you can't listen here. And because I am one that believes in people reaching their full capacity in the things of God, and because I am one that believes in people being in the kingdom of God and being fulfilled, I understand you are called to the kingdom, but you might not be called to me. And my prayer is that you will get to a place that will help you, where you will walk through deliverance, that you will walk through inner healing. And I am so okay. I have the wisdom of God that I don't own the people. They are God's people. And if I can't be the voice because everything I say, it's either similar to where you were, I have the wisdom of God to say, I release you with the blessings of the Lord. Go and be healed where you can be healed. Because as for here, I'm not going to allow your foolish ways for me to be distracted that I no longer walk in wisdom. So I had to learn that in ministry. And people didn't understand that, because people will blame you and stay foolish than to find out what they need to do to move and be wise. And so I took maybe about 5 calls from them. In a short period of time, 5 calls of being attacked, and you should have did this, and you didn't do this. I had a speaking engagement. The foolish will manipulate you when you're wise, so you can be stuck the way they're stuck. But wisdom says keep moving, and those that want to be wise will follow, and they will examine and do what you do. They will duplicate. And so I remember I was on a speaking engagement, and I was there, and they called me and corrected me like, you told me you wasn't going. Why? I saw you were there. And the foolish will always try to pull you out of a place that you need to stay in. Stay reverential to the things of God. Stay focused on the things of God. Stay in a place where you are worshiping and praising and interceding. Don't be so into debates that is not going to be fruitful. Now, I'm for healthy dialogue. But what I'm not going to do is get into a debate that's not going to bring anything to the kingdom and bring no glory to it. And so I had to learn wisdom looks different to many people. Wisdom says, I'm going to do the right thing and trust God with everything else. So that's why I want to talk to you. Be wise and be prepared. Be prepared for the thing that God called you. Don't just go out there and just do it. Be prepared. Be prepared. One of the things that I try to do on here, as much as I love to prophesy, those that know me, y'all know I love to pray and I love to prophesy. That's some people that I know, many of you all that know me are shocked that I come on here and I don't go into the prayer and the prophecy. That's because I want to make sure that this is used as a teaching platform. Because I understand that a lot of things that we need, I hear so many people tell my leaders that where they're located, they don't have equipping centers. They don't have things that where they're being taught. And so we don't really lack prophecies. We have prophecies. Many of us just don't know what to do with the prophecy that we have. And so even the global hub is like an equipping base. It's an equipping center, and things are being put in place to equip. Be prepared. Do what is necessary. I understand that we are prophetic and God speaks to us, but there's so much that we have to learn about protocol, about etiquette, about even who you are in the prophetic. There's so many different things. So as you are being wise, you're going to be prepared. Wisdom says, I understand that I'm called as an apostle, but what type of apostle? I understand that I'm apostle, but what sphere of influence that I'm called to? What do I govern over? What does that look like? Am I called as an apostle in the marketplace, in the government, in the church, in entertainment? Am I in different places, in different spheres of influence? Okay, I'm a prophet. Okay, I'm a prophet and I'm an apostle. That means a hybrid. What does a hybrid look like? How do a hybrid function when we've seen one model of a pastor for so long? There are some things that we need to learn and get an understanding on. And some people have an anointing and they have a gift to revelate the word. They have this supernatural gift of how to bring understanding and how to bring clarity. That's why I'm so big on equipping and training and teaching, because with that wisdom says be somewhere and be prepared, because iron sharpens iron. With all the revelation, with all the knowledge, can we be somewhere that we can be prepared? That's wisdom. That's like a high level of wisdom to make sure that we can be submitted and even have somebody just to check us. So when I say no, I wasn't in my flesh, that I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. When I said no, nope, because some of us, we might say no, and that's just because you don't like the person. It had nothing to do with them not being prepared. It's just that our flesh, we're still fighting people instead of fighting the devil. See, just because you're gifted and just because you're anointed and just because you're called, it don't erase the wounds. It don't erase the pains. You got to put work to that. And sometimes, many times, that hinders us having oil. So I pray that this helped you all. Thank you all for the shares. Thank you so much for the stars. Please, those of you that's on here, please help me get this word out. You all have been doing an amazing job sharing my lives. I noticed that my lives views have tremendously increased. That blesses me. I told you all, I'm not one of those ones that just come on here just to come on here because it's a platform to come on here. I come on here because I want to be a blessing. And so as I have seen the views have increased and the shares have increased. And many of you all have written and said how certain things have blessed you. The transparency, the practical ways, being relevant has blessed you. I understand that everybody learns differently. And so I try to use this platform as that. So if you all could please be a help and help me share this so others can hear it. There's a lot of other people that like it practical. I was one that I will get trained, or people try to help me. They would talk in circles, and by the time they got done, I did not know what they were talking about still. I was probably more confused when I got finished talking to them than I was when I first started. I was like super duper confused afterwards, and I'm like, my God, maybe I shouldn't have asked nothing. And I couldn't get the help from somebody else to help me. And then when my ministry first started, God had me. Even now, I have a call to the youth and the young adults and the young at heart. So my church, starting out for about 8-9 years, was led by younger people in millennials. So my church was led by Generation Z and the millennial generation. They have always heavily populated my ministry. And so I remember I would teach because my background came up holiness, and someone was like, you're so over our head, and we need like a thesaurus and wisdom to that. Now let me help some of you all, because I heard a lot of people say, well, I need how to reach Generation Z and how to reach Generation Y and all this other stuff. And back then there wasn't those titles for that. It was just like, God, I need help. You're going to send some older people. And it was just kids. So my leaders were what people would call kids, but they were sharp and wise and anointed. You know, my worship team, everybody was all across the board, was in their teens and their young 20s. And so when they started telling me that I was over their head, where I came from would say that's disrespectful and dishonorable. But we got to get to a place that wisdom says, now I'm not talking about somebody being disrespectful. I'm not talking about when somebody being dishonorable. I'm talking about when somebody's trying to say that wants help, that needs help, and say, I don't understand. Can you help me? And so I heard what they said, and I began to ask God, give it to me in a practical way. God, give me something I can understand. And when God started giving me something that I can understand, I realized that there was a whole lot of people that was like those that were there and said, hey, we don't really understand. You know, can you give us something a little bit different? And I realized that as I started doing that, the ministry started growing. More people started connecting because they said, man, she's so practical. She's just like so in your face. And I believe that there's a lot of people that's even connected to you guys that would help them to even get to a place where if they don't consistently listen to here, they'll start listening other places that they might not listen to. I've heard many people say, I don't understand what they're saying. That don't make sense to me. People talk in King James Version and people talk like this. And so when there's something that's practical, sometimes they might just need to hear somebody to open them up to, even if it's somebody else, even if it's you, even if it's another family member, even if it's another leader. So if you guys can help me, if you already shared it, please share it again. I don't know what Facebook did with the watch parties. It seemed like that option has been removed. So please share, please come back and reshare that. For those of you that follow me, I'm on my York Hub page on Sundays. We're doing a series, What's Love Got to Do with It? Please go to that page, follow that page if you're not. I've shared that live on this page. And one thing I can say is that the revelation that came forth on Sunday was powerful. And I will strongly encourage you to go back and watch that. Go listen to that. This week, I'm going to be talking about the different types of love and talking about the different types of relationships. That's something that I had to walk through because as raising up different leaders and interacting with different people and having spiritual parents and having natural children and spiritual children, people couldn't understand that you can love different people different ways. They couldn't understand the different relationships. And so I'm going to be talking about the different types of love. I know we know about the agape love, but there's different types of love. So join me on that page on Sunday. I also share it on this page, so it's on here as well. And then on Mondays and Thursdays, follow us on the Global Hub. I'm there with my spiritual father and Apostle Ron Lestrange. That has been life-changing. It has been supernaturally powerful. I will be teaching this Thursday on there for midweek. So make sure that you're following that as well. I'm telling you, that has been totally life-changing. So if you enjoy the practical teachings, make sure that you're following this page. Follow those other platforms. Apostle Ron Lestrange page. You'll get the information for the Global Hub. York Hub is the ministry that I lead in York, Pennsylvania. And then THG is another ministry that I have, that I'm the founder and I oversee as well as that. So make sure that you're following me. I have some events that's coming up where I'm going to be different places. And also check out my THG shops that are on this page, the Teresa Hawkins Global page. You will see different shirts, different hoodies on there. And we're consistently adding to that. I shared with you all in my other live that I just came out with a new one, EPH.320. That's a scripture that I stand on very strongly, Ephesians 3:20. I believe that when you believe that and you have that mindset, that you open yourself up for God to do the supernatural in your life. And I believe that we need to wear the word. And so I started putting encouragement and scriptures and everything on a shirt so that it will speak to us and that it will speak to others. I have so many things that's coming up, so many announcements. So please make sure your notifications are on. Lately, because of my travels and because I've been back and forth to Georgia and other places, and I have some more events in different states and places that's coming up, I haven't had a chance to set a time in. So you will be able to see when I go live if you have your notifications on until I'm able to set that time to let you all know when I'm here. But I try to come in whenever I can. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. I love your comments. I do go back and read your comments. If you have any questions, make sure you send it to this inbox, this messenger on the Teresa Hawkins Global page. Thank you so much, Akila. I'm glad that you like those shirts. And this is the other thing I want to say to y'all. When y'all get the THG products, make sure you take a picture. Take a picture and tag me in it. When you get your products, many of you all have ordered these shirts, you ordered these hoodies, and I have not seen it, or I might hear that you have worn it. But if you could just go ahead and take a picture in it and tag me in it so I can see it, I would love to see you guys in it. I would love to share it on this page so other people can see you in the products as well. So please do that. Tag me in it. So again, I love you guys. I hope that you have an amazing rest of the evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you may be at in the world. And I will see you next time.